Coming at you with another stimulus update, and we're already out of coffee. That's not a great noise. There's barely anything left in there, but let's just go ahead and jump right in because we have some good news in terms of those who haven't yet received their stimulus payment, or maybe you received a wrong amount, or you're running into issues with your stimulus payments. There are millions and millions of deposits being made tomorrow morning, deposited into bank accounts. Also, we have some updates with the EIDL program and the Paycheck Protection program. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the news. So like I said, many people who have yet to receive a stimulus payment should be getting deposits tomorrow. Now, this will include Social Security beneficiaries who didn't file taxes. If you already filed taxes, you should have already received your stimulus payment. If you haven't received your stimulus payment and you filed taxes and you're an SSA beneficiary of any kind, you may want to check the Get My Payment tool and see if anything funky is going on there. Now, included in those who will receive payments tomorrow includes SSA beneficiaries, SSI, SSDI, and RRB beneficiaries. This unfortunately still doesn't include VA beneficiaries, which is extremely frustrating, and I don't want to get into it too deep, but there's no payment date yet for VA beneficiaries because the IRS simply doesn't have the information for whatever reason. They just don't have payee information, yet we've already had 2 stimulus checks before this. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what's going on there, but they're expecting that payments will be made to VA beneficiaries at some point in April. We just don't have the exact date. Also, beyond the SSA recipients getting payments tomorrow, that's for direct deposits. If you're getting mailed a payment and you're an SSA recipient who didn't file taxes, it'll be a little while yet, but payment should still be on its way. Again, you can check with that Get My Payment tool. But also, there's a few more groups of people who will be receiving payments as well. Those who made more in 2019 compared to 2020 should be automatically getting a top-up payment. So running into this stimulus payment, there was a bit of an issue where if you made more money in 2019 and then you either lost income or you lost your job in 2020, and that would qualify you for a stimulus payment, we were saying you should file your taxes as soon as possible. That way, once the stimulus bill gets passed, you will automatically just get the correct payment amount. So if you were right on the brink of getting a stimulus payment, not getting a stimulus payment, maybe you received like a half stimulus payment, you should be getting the remaining half deposited in your account tomorrow morning, which is huge. We also said the opposite, where if you made more money in 2020, that compared to 2019, maybe you wanted to hold off on filing your taxes. That way you would get the full stimulus payment, but the time for that is already passed. Also, you may be receiving that additional stimulus payment if you had a baby in 2020. Now, I know this applies to a ton of people. So this is the situation that it would apply for. If you had a baby in 2020 and then you received your 3rd stimulus payment before your taxes were completely processed, showing that new child, that new dependent on your taxes, you wouldn't have received the child dependent. Now, they should be sending you the dependent payment. I don't know why that made a circle, but they should be sending you the dependent payment automatically to correct that difference. That way you don't have to wait all the way following the circle again to file your taxes for 2021 to get that recovery credit. You should be getting that automatically. This also includes anyone who is missing other dependents. Maybe, I don't know, you're fostering a cat and you filed them as a dependent. I don't think that's legal. Maybe your weird uncle moved in and you're filing them as a dependent on your 2020 taxes. And the same deal, if your 2020 taxes just went through, you could be getting that automatic top-up payment to receive the full amount, $1,400 per person, per dependent stimulus payments. Now, those corrections, again, will hit tomorrow, but that is direct deposit. If you're getting mailed a check, it'll be a little while. And also this time around, more paper checks and more debit cards are being sent than ever, according to the IRS. We don't know the exact amount, but last time it was 8 million. So if they're saying it's more than that, it's going to be more than 8 million, which is quite a few. And a big group of individuals here is anyone who owed taxes for 2020. Chances are you're going to be mailed a payment because of just how the IRS systems work. They're not able to deposit a payment into account that owed taxes. It's weird how it works, but I have a couple friends who are in that seat and we're just waiting for their stimulus payment. And that might be a paper check, it might be a debit card. I have videos on the debit card. If you're wondering how exactly the debit card works, you can check that on my channel. Also, what if your payment says it was deposited into your bank account or it says it was mailed, but you never received it. What should you do? There is a solution here. So let's pop over to the IRS website here real quick. It's called a payment trace. So all you need to do is if you received your notice 1444 or 1444B that says your payment was issued by direct deposit or by mail, you can file for a trace, but they're saying to do a few things, check off a few boxes before you file for that trace. So if it's a direct deposit, they're saying first check with your bank. If it's been more than 5 days, see if there's anything going on with the bank. And then you can file for a trace, but there's a few other guidelines. So they're basically saying, don't bother us unless it's been more than 5 days of an electronic payment, more than 4 weeks since it was mailed to just a regular address, more than 6 weeks since it was mailed but you have a forwarding address, or more than 9 weeks and it was mailed to a foreign address. If you check one of those boxes, then you can file for a trace. And what happens if a trace gets initiated? If the check was not cashed, they will reverse the payment, and then you're going to have to file for a recovery rebate credit on your 2020 tax return. However, if you already filed that, you might have to wait till 2021 unless they have some kind of supplemental stimulus payment portal that comes out, which they're supposed to, but we'll see if that happens. If the check was cashed, then it's going to be a little bit more complicated. The Treasury's Bureau of Fiscal Service is going to send you a claim package that you're going to have to fill out, and you're probably going to have to attest that you weren't the one who deposited the check. And if all the checks, the security checks come through, then you will be able to get that recovery rebate credit. So it's a bit of a hassle if you didn't receive it, but you still will ultimately receive it. In order to start a payment trace, you can call this number, which is 800-919-9835. Now, moving on from here, the new EIDL loan program opens up today. This is huge. This increases the loan size for small businesses from 6 months working capital to 24 months of working capital, and ups the total loan size to $500,000. And there's future plans to up that potential to $2 million. We don't know if the working capital months are going to increase as well, but this will increase your EIDL loan or potential EIDL loan by 3 to 4 times as much. So this is a huge increase. Also, they changed the deferral rules a little bit. So if you received an EIDL loan back in 2020, your first payment isn't due until 24 months after the origination date. If you got an EIDL loan in 2021, your first payment is not due until 18 months after your origination date. But it's important to note that interest starts accruing as soon as your origination date starts. So you may want to still consider making payments early, even if the payment is not yet due, because interest is building up and you want to be on the other side of interest. You want to be collecting. Oh, I almost just knocked over my coffee. You know, my half mostly empty coffee. You want to be the one collecting interest. You don't want to be the one paying interest. But either way, that program opens up today. If you already received an EIDL loan and you're trying to bump that up to the 24-month calculation, wait for an email. You should be receiving one that gives you further instructions. If you've yet to apply for an EIDL loan and you want one, simply go to the SBA's website and you will see EIDL loan. You can apply right through their website. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Also, in Paycheck Protection news, you don't have a lot of time left if you have yet to apply for your round 1 if you're trying to get 2 rounds worth. That's because with how the covered periods work, and there's only 2 months, less than 2 months for the program until the expiration date, you pretty much need to apply like today if you're trying to get both rounds. So I have a lender that I've been working with closely that I have linked in the description here, and they will take care of you and get you funded. Just make sure you do that as soon as possible if you're a small business owner. So that's going to do it for today. I would like to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.